everyone. It is Monday, September 27th, 2021. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Let's get after it here, right? So, a little bit of a gap down here this morning. You know, smaller in the SPY, right? A little bit more pronounced here in QQQ. So let's kind of talk about what that means, right? We had inside bars kind of across the board, or kind of mostly across the board, our core five names here last week, right on this Friday. So low volume consolidation after finding a potential bottom, right, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does create a little bit of uncertainty for us this morning. And gives us a situation where markets can kind of go in either direction, right? So we wouldn't be surprised to see breakdowns kind of under this 439.50, right? And we wouldn't really be too surprised to see breakouts over that 445. So I think this like inside bar, consolidation period here, right? You see a little bit of people defending this 445 area. So we can get up and over there. I think we can get some follow through towards that 448 zone, maybe even higher. It's going to really depend on kind of how these leading names are going, right? So if you guys remember from Friday, right, Tesla was really starting to run for us on that Friday. So if we can start to get some follow through in some of these other names, right, then we could maybe start to get that pop again in the SPY. So we'll see how this goes, right? I think this is a relatively decent looking kind of three candle pattern here, right? Bottom, high volume breakout, right? Low vol pullback, inside bar consolidation. Maybe there's a little bit of weakness in these candles that we need to be kind of conscious of, right? We kind of found some sellers there at the bottom, or sort of, at the close, and maybe that's going to push it down, right? Relatively high volume, so that could be a sign of weakness for us, right? To kind of be aware of. 4 hour wise, right, nothing really there for us. Still maybe just more looks like that consolidation period. So let's see if this thing can break out, right? If we're going to compare this to QQQ, right, maybe this two candle pattern is a little bit weaker, right? But our relative gap down here this morning, right, we're showing maybe more signs of relative strength than tech. So let's keep an eye on that, right? So really similar story here on QQQ where we found a potential high volume bottom, right? Bounce, inside bar consolidation, breakout, right? And then we're kind of getting a sort of a full body or fuller body, right? Inside bar here. So certainly more of a visual representation of bulls kind of still remaining in control a little bit, right? Full body candle, inside bar breakout. It certainly looks more like bears have given up a little bit, or it's easier to kind of talk ourselves into that thesis. Obviously, now we're gapping down here a little bit this morning, and that's sort of telling us it's a mixed story, right? We're looking at a relative strength, right, in this run-up compared to the SPY, and yet QQQ is the one that's still showing us that extra sign of weakness. So we want to keep an eye on that, right? If we can break down under that 369.90, maybe we can get that follow through to the downside towards that 367.50 area, right? 367.40 into that sort of zone. That could certainly be a lot of help if we can get there. But I think this bull case now needs to be maybe a little bit tempered, right? Because we're not getting that same story with that gap down here this AM, right? We're expecting on this relative strength for this to have not maybe been the biggest gap down here. So if we do get that weakness, maybe QQQ is showing us those signs. But otherwise, we'll keep an eye on this, right? We might be able to get cleaner breakouts somewhere else to the bullish, like for the bullish case, right? Apple, kind of a similar story here as QQQ, where we're kind of getting a mixed story here now, right? Friday, kind of a fake out in one side, right? Fake out to the downside on very, very thin volume. So I think that makes it pretty hard to trade here, right? And, there probably are cleaner setups, right? Maybe this is weakness and we can look for breakdowns under that 145.50, right? And that's going to move like 90 cents at a time. And then it can kind of go towards that 143, 142, 140 areas. I think we're gonna have to watch the index here, right? Watch the general market. So if the index is strong, I'm not going to want to fight Apple. I still think maybe our bias needs to be to the downside a little bit here, right? Maybe another bit of a rejection. But this, like, I can't shake this selling volume, right? Or kind of this momentum here, right? In this kind of green box. So this is a lot of pressure, right? Very high volume. We haven't really accomplished much over or much under. So I'd like to see if maybe that kind of pressure continues to sort of play out here a little bit. If we do sort of break down from there, then yeah, I think we can get back down towards sort of, the September 20th low. But I think maybe again, right, similar story. There might be cleaner plays than this today. Right, this just double kind of fake out, right, in either direction, not giving us really that much conviction. Not the weakest of candles, right, but no conviction from buyers here, right, or no real sign of strength from bulls here yet from Apple. So I think we need to be a little bit patient to the upside, right, and certainly not fight this if the market is weak, right. Tesla, maybe one of my favorite ones here. Really, really big play for us on that Friday. And maybe giving us a chance for that kind of continuation follow through this week, right? So we don't need to assume that continuation is going to happen today, right? Maybe a little bit of consolidation or a test of the trend line and then go again, right? It could require something along those lines. But really good volume on this breakout over this wedge consolidation, right? So kind of looked like that, right? So really good breakout over. Now giving us a little bit of a gap down here, right? Kind of following the market. So let's see how this reacts, right? If this setup is strong, right, and that bullish momentum was strong on Friday, we're going to kind of we'd expect to see bullish momentum step in and defend this gap down, right? Obviously, if the market is weak, well, I wouldn't anticipate Tesla to show us a ton of signs of strength. But also probably one we want to avoid chasing to the downside, right? So because Tesla's had a really strong kind of directional full body, right? Barely any selling pressure, right? Green every single hourly candle, right? Huge day for Tesla, right? Huge day for Tesla. We don't want to fight that trend, right? I don't need to be that hero who is the first guy going short here. So let's see how this thing consolidates, right? Our bias is 100% to the upside. And let's see if we can get that breakout over that 780, right? If Tesla can break that 780, you got room towards that 790. And then you can start making that case towards that 800 zone. So we're looking at sort of resistance here on the left-hand side, right? Inside this box here, right? And these levels start to get pretty big and pretty aggressive. So this thing can move pretty quickly if we can get that breakout. Let's see how it reacts to key psych area at that 800 zone. And then maybe we can get that continuation follow through. But a little period of consolidation today, right, does nothing but potentially even strengthen our setup. So we can be patient here and see what comes together. Again, if the market is selling off, I'm probably going to look for other bearish setups other than Tesla. Right? Microsoft sort of back inside this channel here a little bit for us, right? And really nice kind of low volume consolidation. Needs to kind of get going again here though, right? So inside bar breakout, not really on any high conviction here, right? These are all fairly wicky candles. Nothing that's telling us, strong strength, right? From relative strength from sellers, right? Or relative strength from buyers. So more kind of just looks a bit like indecision. Right, what we want to see now is a breakout, right? This consolidation to lead to a volume increase, right? And a breakout over this sort of previous fake out zone. So we need to get over that 306 area, right? That's going to be key for Microsoft, right? If it wants to consolidate and wants to fake out to the upside, fine. I'm happy to let that go, right? Because we already have kind of evidence of this faking out on us, right? So let's see if we can get that breakout over that 306 or see if we can get that full body, right, high volume day, right, for a test towards it, right? So I think to the upside, right, we need more cooperation here pre-market. If we want to fight this or if we want to play bearish setups, right, I think we can lose that 296.80 shelf, right? This looks like a potential zone where we can start to sell off a little bit, right? Expect some resistance at this 295, right? Then that 294, and then maybe we can start talking about testing towards that bottom channel. I want to be a little bit careful, right, chasing this to the downside too, though, because right, this is still a wick, right? This is still a wick. This is still a wick, right? So we have a lot of evidence, right, of buyers propping up support here. So we don't need to fight this too much, right? But if the market is selling off, we have relatively wicky, thin action here that could hopefully move for us pretty well. So just one last kind of setup here that I like, and it's this NVIDIA. So maybe not for today, but this could be one that's kind of coming together for us, right? So NVIDIA really punchy. Okay, good morning, Jonathan, right? Really impressive consolidation here, kind of post-split. Remember, we did a 4-to-1 split, and we've kind of consolidated inside this range, right, kind of since then. Right, we found the bottom here, bouncing off this like 205 area, right? High volume bottom, inside bar back in the BB brand, right? High volume breakout, right? Full volume, engulfing on volume. Now we're getting a little bit of a consolidation here again inside this post-split zone, right? Under all-time highs. So if NVIDIA is able to continue consolidating and then break out over that, say, 230.50, I think this looks like a really interesting swing setup. Obviously, it's not ready for us here yet. It's still got a little bit of work to do. But if it can get towards that 230 zone, right, I think it's got a lot of fun to it. Maybe there'll be a few other plays here that look interesting, right? But we had a little bit of relative strength there on Friday, right? Maybe lower volume, but still sort of relative strength. And now we're kind of gapping down here a little bit. So, we're not necessarily getting that super consistent story. So I think we're going to get paid to be patient here a little bit, right? Maybe Monday needs to be a bit of a setup day for these markets, and then we can figure out what setups look clean after that. But I think we look like we have a little bit of potential, right? If we get strength, something like this Tesla has shown us the most relative strength, right, on Friday. That might be our bias to figure out what we want to do here, right? Like always, right, off the opening bell, I'm looking for high volume, full body candles, right? And those are going to be my sort of best clue on maybe where the strength is hiding today, right? Relative strength. And then we can kind of readjust and make our plans from there. So that's sort of what I'm targeting today, guys. That's sort of what I'm looking for. Hopefully it's a strong day. Don't have too much data coming out or really too much headline risk from any big boys. So I'm hopeful that we can have a clean, smooth day, right? VIX opening up sub 20 generally gives us the indication, right, that we're going to get like maybe one or two good setups here in the morning, and then maybe not something in the afternoon. And then treasuries are climbing, right, which maybe why tech is struggling here a little bit. So happy hunting out there, guys, right? Best of luck. Please like and subscribe. And for those who want to start their 7-day free trial and trade all these setups with me, right, get actionable trade ideas as they happen, start your 7-day free trial at www.dtrtrading.com. Link is in the description. Otherwise, best of luck out there, guys. Happy hunting, and see you all tomorrow.